Hi, this is Jason Kaplan on a Sunday here in Memphis with Beit Abulafia with my very, very good friend Avi Solomon in Kfar Saba, Israel. Hello, Avi.
Hi, Jason. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Good.
Good,
We
Shavua Tov.
Shavuot we had our first release of the hostages.
Thank
Thank
God.
God.
Thank God. Thank God. They shall come home safe and the end of Hamas and any other similar group.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, in Yirtzeh Hashem, and very, very soon. Um, Kind of on the subject of a more spiritual world. Avi is here in his car in Kfar Saba on the way. I really appreciate your time to make the time to talk with me. I'm here in Memphis in my home, and we've been talking about Abulafia for I think about 5 or 6 years, Avi.
Yes, absolutely. Well,
And I discovered Abulafia maybe in 2018. I was aware of him before, but in terms of my discovery of Abulafia and music, now you yourself, I think it was in the 1990s. Is that correct?
yes. Probably like around, I would say around 94, like 95. I was like transitioning from uh Maimonides to Abulafia.
I would say that was my similar transition too. I studied a lot of Maimonides and moved towards Abulafia. So you're coming on 30 years of being aware of Abraham Abulafia.
Yeah, I'm old. I'm almost 50, 50, 53 going on 54.
Thank God. Thank God. And filling your years with some amazing work, which we're going to talk about. We're talking about this under the rubric of a new partnership that we are working on, a celebration. We're reaching out to really all meditation people, and particular people who love Abraham Abulafia. His 800th birthday will be in 2040. He was born in 1240, so his 800th birthday is coming up. And this year, I felt important to reach out to you and start thinking about the 15-year project towards his 800th birthday and assembling everybody for a Zoom call and in-person celebrations June 25th of this year, and we'll think about future years. But this will give us some time to reach out to everybody, talk about it. People bring their projects together and share what they're working on for permutations in general, which is a tradition across Kabbalah and particularly Abulafia. So with that, I wanted to ask for both of us to kind of talk about what we're working on and see if this would help inspire others to bring their projects forward. So you have a tremendous Sefer Yetzirah edition that you have with you, if you would show us.
It's yeah, it's,
Look at that beauty. That is gorgeous. This represents about 2 years of work for you, right, Avi?
yes. I kind of translated a whole bunch of Sefer Yetzirah. This is the actual text that I translated. So it is the Geniza Cairo Geniza scroll, which
Wow,
is the oldest text of Sefer Yetzirah. I don't know if you can see.
that is incredible.
So this scroll was found in the Cairo Geniza, and it's the oldest text of Sefer Yetzirah. And I was in well, I was in the middle of translating Abulafia's Ora Sechel, which
Hmm.
now I would translate it as a light of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And so what kept happening was like well, I was not just translating Ora Sechel, but I was reading a lot of other works by Abulafia. And in every location, every text by Abulafia, suddenly you realize the importance of Sefer Yetzirah for Abulafia.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of becomes unavoidable to deal with, like both explicitly valued by Abulafia, but also implicitly. And it came to a point where uh, I had to engage with Sefer Yetzirah itself, and then it took me on another journey through each time translating one edition of Sefer Yetzirah. I translated the first print edition, and then I
Hmm.
translated Meir Bar Ilan's edition of the Sefer Yetzirah, and then uh, what happened, and then I published Meir Bar Ilan's edition, and I said, "Great, I'm done." It was like published in a limited edition. It sold out like within a few days, and then um, people asked me for a second edition, and then what happened was Professor Avishai Barasher came out with another like an extraordinary work of academic detective work
Hmm.
uh, to kind of reconstruct the not the original text of Sefer Yetzirah, but the oldest text of Sefer Yetzirah, and uh, and I had to translate that, and then that led me to like uh, another year of translating
Wow.
different versions of that, and then I came. Now I'm done. I'm now just typing up the results and preparing a prototype, and that will go out to the publisher for discussion.
Fantastic. And you have this represents 2 years of work, and you have Abulafia circles in the Sefer Yetzirah. Is that correct? You have those illustrations?
Right. So I have an introduction, which kind of like is more of putting everything in context. And for example, these two circles here.
Yes. Hmm.
So there seems to have been some kind of historical encounter. The first one is from Abulafia's commentary on Sefer Yetzirah, Gan Na'ul, and the second one is from the Ars Brevis by Ramon Lull. He kind of invented Western logic, and
Wow.
but they both happen to be in the same location in history in around 1273 in Barcelona.
Okay.
Uh, what are the chances of somebody replicating a system of circles and kind of similar, very similar?
Either it was in the air or they met, right?
I don't know if they met on friendly terms or on kind of like there's more. There's even another diagram which is again very similar.
Very similar. I see the writing, the circle of Abulafia with the letters. Oh, fantastic. Look at that connection.
So the introduction kind of goes through the history, kind of like the intellectual history of separate the and there's Abulafia's circles,
Beautiful.
which
Which
later
are,
which
I'm sorry,
later
go ahead.
became his meditation technique in Chaye Olam Haba. But here
Hmm.
it's a more has a more magical import connected to the golem. The golem as a linguistic entity.
Mm. I think he also wrote all of his books in circles. I think that was the thing that I couldn't believe. He never really wrote like a full linear sentence. He wrote everything in circles.
Right. The structure itself of the text is a circle.
It's incredible.
Uh,
So that's coming out for the public soon.
yeah. So I have this prototype will be going. Kind of, I have a Patreon where like I have
Hmm.
these super fans, and so they kind of help. They're kind of my cheerleaders to help me get things done.
Yes.
And then I will use the prototype as a discussion with the publisher in England, and then we will like get out a nice edition. This is going to be the second edition from that publisher, and I'm very happy with them. And so yeah, so uh, it's it's very it's been a very fulfilling journey for me in terms of the translation and the importance of Sefer Yetzirah. I mean, I am. I don't have any pretense to be an academic scholar or even a Talmid Chacham. I'm definitely a Am Haaretz. So this is something I would like for myself, and if somebody else loves it, great. So
Yep.
that's my focus is on the English translation.
Very well said. Very well said. I commend you on all the work, and it certainly has influenced me. I have your first copy here of Sefer Yetzirah. I'm going to have the second one, God willing. I'll highlight briefly the Sefer Yetzirah type of card from Sulam Aliyah, which was Rabbi Yehuda Albatini of Yerushalayim, of Jerusalem, who studied the techniques of Abulafia. So my project is really all summed up in this card that I hand out to people, and then I show them how to attach music notes. Let's make it a little bit closer to the Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Daled, and all the 24 permutations where my index finger is right here. The one where my second finger is a not trans, but not transliteration, but permutation of 5 letters. Permutations of 4 letters is where my index finger is, and then the other set of the 5 letters is here. And so transmutation, permutation, however you want to say it, of melody, letters, vowels is what I've been teaching to people now in different cities. Some groups will open up a Beit Abulafia, some will open up a universal language room, just depending on if they want that meditative piece or they just want it to be universal language. So I've really found a way to teach music an extremely efficient way through the teachings of Abulafia, and I bring my what I call magic card, meditation card, however you want to frame it. But there's a certain magic of bringing people together and feeling that camaraderie and that one God, one human family, all from a card. I know, like in music, there is a lot of teaching of permutations, but I think what I've really added and what Abulafi added for me was not just that numbers and notes permutate, because that can almost sound like a computer, but the vowels, which I think he called the derech hanikud, the path of the vowels. Is that right?
Yes, and also the vowels are the soul. The consonants are the body.
Mm, meaning what?
The vowels inspire the consonants with life.
Oh, okay, good, good. I
So
think when I sometimes I hear people play music permutation music or think about the permutations, it sounds very da 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 da. And I think when I added the vowels, I found it more like e ya di u ah b u ya, and you put the vowels in it, makes it much more of a soulful music.
right, it's adding the breath or the neshama or the neshima, you know.
Mm.
So
Vowels is the breath. Very good.
the consonants are the body. You need both.
Oh, see what I've learned today from doing this call with you?
But yeah, so I think that's the contribution of Sefer Yetzirah, the tziruf al-tiyot, the combination of letters.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the key to creativity. Um, yeah, you could, if you want to be have a modern translation of Sefer Yetzirah, you could say, I call it the book of creativity, but you could also call it the book of generativity,
Oh,
right?
that's very good.
Everybody's talking about generative AI.
Mm-hmm.
So what's a large language model? It's like a concatenation of large data sets, and it's all mixed together and generates something new from a combination of
Very.
letters. That is the golem of our day.
Yes. Very well said. I find that when I do the permutations, I start writing stories, ideas. I even have a theory that Abulafia taught Jikatilia his system, and he met Moshe DeLeon, and together it inspired the Zohar. Even the fact that there may have been some communication with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai as a soul or autosuggestion, or I can see it being a work of antiquity, but also something that was triggered by the generative meditative technique of Abulafia.
I, you might be you might be right.
That's the
You're
theory. We'll
quite
have to leave
probable.
that. We'll
Uh,
leave it for you, Dell.
there are some parts of the Zohar which do deal with vowels,
Yes.
uh, and also Moshe Cordovero wrote kind of like a great commentary on Sefer Yetzirah, and also on the commentary on the Zohar. There's a whole on Shira Shirim. There's a whole section on combining on Tziruf Otiyot, and
Hmm.
so there is definitely a connection, and of course Jikatila, a, like one of Abulafia's students.
Yes. Went and met with Moshe de Leon. And I also saw in Rabbi Nachman's student, Rabbi Nassan, that he wrote about how important it is to permutate letters and think of the 231 gates of the Sefer Yetzirah. So I recently saw that in his letters to his son, Baruch Hashem. It was really beautiful to see that. And he said how much creativity and feeling of closeness to God he felt by doing that. So I think there's something for everybody. And I think also combining this with the Rambam and his universal outlook, all humans are created in the image of God. Every human has a divine soul. Our rational capabilities should be developed to their utmost, but even rationalism has a limit. That's where the letters and meditation come in, that there's a post-rational world. They both have to live sort of as much harmoniously in a person as they can, rational and post-rational. And I think that's really where the Rambam is so important. So this is why I love Abulafia so much. It's the Kabbalah with the Rambam together. It really speaks to as much as the whole human as possible. So I hope, Avi, with you that you can come in and be a full guest on a full hour of Beit Abulafia as we schedule our guests this year. But I'm really happy that we could partner and we'll gather friends and colleagues and people who are interested in Sirufim, permutations, and Sefer Yetzirah and Abulafia. We'll have a 800th birthday party, year number 15, working our way up to 1240 plus 800, which is 2040 coming up. And I'm so happy to partner with you.
That's awesome. That'd be a great party. And I just want to, regards to Maimonides, uh, first, one point is that there does seem to be an implicit reference to Sefer Yetzirah in
Hmm.
the guide.
Hmm.
I might have, I believe that, but uh, it's for I can point out the reference and people can judge. I mean, he was kind of making fun of Sefer Yetzirah in a way,
Hmm.
but not. But I think he understood the power of Sefer Yetzirah and kind of like hedged around it. Uh,
Interesting.
but I think the importance of Abulafia is using the Rambam's a prophetic psychology outlined in the guide, and also his clues to the meditative aspects. The guide itself is a very meditative, very
Agreed.
spiritual. It has indicators to meditative paths, right?
Yes.
Almost like edge bordering on mindfulness, intellectual yoga, right? You could call that.
I like
Uh,
that phrase.
but I think the importance of Abulafia is uh, providing a spiritual path of work for uh, all Jews, um, that's on par with the paths in other religions, uh, especially Tibetan Buddhism. Like they're the real competition here for Jewish secular souls, like me.
I
So
think I think I've seen that a lot in my life. People are very attracted to the Buddhism and the chanting and chakras of Hinduism, and I felt that myself growing up, absolutely. And I think that those are wonderful systems, but to find it in our own tradition has been quite a bracha.
yeah, so it's been a long journey for me. I grew
Mhm.
up in India as a Jew, and I had to find my way back home.
I grew up as a Jew in, secular Jewish America, finding my way back home. It's amazing to share that journey with you and so many others. And I think what's interesting for me is I came to Orthodox world and studied some great systems, but I always thought there's just one more thing out there for me. And to find him, to find Abulafia has been incredible.
Indeed.
Well, we'll conclude here. I want to thank you, Avi, for joining me. I pray for much, much better days in Israel and the removal of evil from our midst of these different groups like Hamas and others, and the celebration of the freedom of our young people and older people in any age of, and we know there are any ages of the hostages. There will never be, God willing, another hostage again. There'll be peace in the Middle East, and people will recognize the one God and they'll follow a religion of peace, however they follow it. In the meantime, I hope that our efforts, combined with every effort any other human makes towards peace and spirituality and understanding and dialogue, flourishes. But I'm excited to celebrate a first birthday party for Abulafia in June with you, and to collect friends and colleagues to help us celebrate.
Amen. Be'ezrat Hashem. The path to peace is there. We Everybody needs the will.